Cord, so heads up.
Use the chat feature to send Audrey a message about screen sharing the agenda.
Yeah, I'm not hearing anybody.
We'll get you that ability.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have to do that too with having another computer that gets open to look at the agenda.
Yeah.
And I registered earlier today. And they send you an email back, but it's not really an email. And I tried copying the link and send it to my own email, and it put it on hold.
Oh.
I had to re-register it. Just 3 seconds of it.
Have they started the meeting?
Don't know.
Can you guys hear me? Online?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Who was Jefferson?
That order.
Can you guys mute, please?
What did she say?
Could you mute?
Does she want us to mute? I can do that,
Yes, please.
but I can't hear him.
Until you're ready to talk.
Guess we have to hold up a sign in the middle of the room says, please mute.
If she can't.
Somebody got an old election sign left.
Because
Turn it inside out.
I think we're trying to talk because none of us can see what's taking place in the room. The screen share is actually a problem.
Mm-hmm.
When I hit screen share, it says that somebody at the host level has disconnected it.
Audrey goes to full host.
So the screen share is not allowing us to see what's taking place at county board.
It says host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Yeah, but that only means that you can't be screen sharing.
Correct.
But we aren't hearing anything.
No, Not either.
We are not talking right now.
I don't know, it's on the Zoom stuff, and this is what's showing to them on Zoom.
What do
Because
we
others can't
want to be
share.
shown?
We want.
Just stop sharing that, and we'll get. We gotta get meeting going.
That's fine.
Let's do this.
We're good now?
Now they should be able to see this.
Got a form here.
Ask them if they can.
Are you able to see now? On
We
Zoom?
can see the participants.
It's working for me. At least my screen changed.
We cannot yet see the county boardroom though. I can't see the county boardroom.
Whoever.
Okay. We're gonna work on this. We're gonna bring this, the meeting to order because we have a quorum within the room here, so we're gonna get moving here. So call the tonight's Jefferson County Board meeting, to order. Roll call by the county clerk.
Supervisor Jones?
Here.
Supervisor Kelly? Supervisor David? Supervisor Teets?
Here.
Supervisor Brockler? Supervisor Herbst? Supervisor Morris?
Here,
Supervisor Winnicky?
Here.
Supervisor Renard?
Here.
Supervisor Zastro? Supervisor Johns?
Here.
Supervisor Smith?
Here.
Supervisor Merton?
Here.
Supervisor Lund? I saw him. Supervisor Nass?
Here.
Supervisor Payne?
Here.
Supervisor Coots?
Here.
Supervisor White?
Here.
Supervisor Drana? Supervisor Backlund? Supervisor Kennard?
Here.
Supervisor Paulson? Supervisor Jekyll? Supervisor Lindell? Supervisor Felker? Supervisor Fitzgerald? Supervisor Nealon? Supervisor Schultz? Supervisor Roberts?
Here.
And Supervisor Christensen.
Here.
Okay, we have 29 present, 1 absent.
Thank you, clerk. Thank you, Audrey. We have the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. And since it is Veterans Day tomorrow, we'll have a veteran lead us, and we'll have the one that returned most recently from service. Mr. Ward.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just take a few seconds of silence and contemplate the things that we will be dealing with this evening. Thank you. Are we in compliance with the open meetings law?
We are, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Administrator. We have approval of the agenda. I want to suggest a few changes here. We need to add under communications an item C, which is veterans recognition, and D, treasurer's report. I would also ask that we move item 13, which is a simple planning and zoning ordinance change, up to right after public comment. And we'll dispense with that so these people can, I think most they're here concerning zoning, so they can leave and we can have better social distancing in the room. So I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda with those changes. Who is the second? Supervisor Jekyll. And a motion was by Supervisor Paulson. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Okay, the agenda is approved. Approval of the October 27th, 2020 meeting minutes. They are not in your packet because they have not gone to the exec committee yet. That meeting was on the 27th and the exec meeting met the next morning. They didn't have them prepared, so we'll put those off to the next meeting. All right. Communications, zoning committee.
Zoning Committee notice of public hearing, November 19th at 7 p.m. And that will be in room 205. And then there is the Comprehensive Plan and Farmland Preservation Plan notice of public hearing, which is December 8th. And that will be at 7 p.m. also at the courthouse.
Thank you. And veterans recognition, Ms. Palm.
There we go. So we would like to recognize our veterans who serve on our county board and a couple others that are in the room with us tonight. For those that have served in the past and are currently serving, I think it is important to know that we have almost 10% of our employees countywide that again have served or are currently serving, which is a great recognition that we will be providing them tomorrow. But tonight, when I read your name, if you could stand up, and if I miss anybody, I sincerely apologize. Please let me know that at the end so we can make sure that we recognize you in future years. Walt Christensen, Dan Herbst, Dwayne Morris, Dick Schultz, Augie Teets, Blair Ward, Ben Waymeyer, and Brandon White. Was there anybody that I did miss? Oh. Mr. Backlund, please give him a round of applause. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry. Treasurer's report. We doing our treasurer's report? All right. Green.
Yep.
Sheet. Well, you have it in front of you on the green sheet. So there's reports done, I guess. Okay, public comment. Is there any public comment on items on the agenda? Any public comment? All right, thank you. So we'll move on to item number 13, Planning and Zoning Committee. Supervisor Jacob.
Report to the honorable members of Jefferson County Board of Supervisors. Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Committee, having considered petitions to amend the official zoning map of Jefferson County, filed for a public hearing and held on September 17th and October 15th, 2020, as required by law pursuant to Wisconsin statutes. Notice thereof having been given and been duly advised of the wishes of the town boards, persons in the areas affected, hereby makes the following recommendations. Approval of petitions as listed, dated this 26th day of October 2020, Blaine Paulson, Secretary. That moves on to ordinance number 2020-29, amending the official zoning map of Jefferson County, whereas Jefferson County Board of Supervisors has heretofore been petitioned to amend the official zoning map of Jefferson County, and whereas petition number R4266A20 was referred to the Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Committee for public hearing on September 17th, and petitions R4275A, R4276A, R4277A, R4278A, R4279A were referred to public hearing on October 15th, 2020, whereas proposed amendments have been given due consideration by the Board of Supervisors in open session. Now therefore be it ordained that Jefferson County Board of Supervisors amends the official zoning map of Jefferson County as listed. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of this ordinance.
Do you have a second? Second by Supervisor Paulson. Any discussion?
I'd just like to clarify it was ordinance number 11.
Okay, that correction, ordinance number 11, not 29. Okay. Duly noted. Hearing no discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes. All right, takes us back to the Finance Committee. Okay. Amend recommended 2021 county budget with possible addenda. Supervisor Jones.
I move that the non-countywide levy budget, the countywide levy budget, and the functional totals as stated in the 2021 recommended budget be adopted. I need a second, but there'll be no vote at this time.
I'll second.
Second from Supervisor Jekyll.
All right, budget amendments will be presented by the supervisor proposing the amendment and voted on separately by the county board. It will be taken one amendment at a time and voting on that same amendment. There will be no vote on the budget at this time. Proposed amendments will require a second. Vote on the budget amendment only. Roll call vote required, a simple majority. We will take all the submitted amendments first. Then if there are any from the floor, we will take those. We'll start out with Supervisor Christensen and his amendment.
Supervisor Christensen, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Supervisor Jones. I have amendment number 1, supervisor amendment. I could read it because that's basically what it is. To amend the 2021 recommended budget as amended by the Finance Committee, I hereby propose to apply funds from the 2021 DNR Lake Monitoring and Protection Grant for the hours of the Water Resources Specialist. Said grant funded hours of work would be in addition to the budgeted part-time hours. The remaining part of the amendment is clear to everybody, I think. And so I move for adoption of this amendment.
So I have a second.
Second.
Second by Supervisor Kennard. Any discussion or questions? Supervisor Brogler.
This grant, is this a one-time grant?
Supervisor Christensen.
This is a recurring grant. It's essentially a contract between the DNR and Jefferson County Land and Water Department to work with aquatic invasive species.
Did you want to follow a question?
Follow up. So is it acceptable for it to be applied to a salary as opposed to what you just defined it to do?
That will leave to a supervisor or our administrator, Mr. Waymont.
So the way this grant is set up, and this was the grant you all looked at the last county board meeting, is a certain amount of dollars were allocated by the state to each county to accept. And it is up to that county then to determine how they want to move forward with carrying out the provisions of that grant. That could be from a contract basis to offsetting salary costs, etc. There's a performa in terms of, I'll call it a catalog for lack of a better term, that there are areas that the department head, in this case Patricia, can work through in terms of meeting the goals that are laid out by the state, and that you align that in with those grant performance requirements. But it is up to the county to determine how they execute it. So yes, you may do it in the manner that's being recommended.
Supervisor Jones, you had
The Finance Committee supported this on a 4-0 vote. We had one supervisor missing in our last Finance Committee meeting. And just with the simple concept of that the Land and Water Conservation Department acquired the grant, and if this is how they would like to use it, we had no problem with that.
Any other questions? Comments from the floor? Who was speaking? Mike Kelly? Supervisor Kelly, go ahead.
Yeah, I was very concerned and somewhat disappointed when this position was only funded half-time. I'm very happy to support this amendment. Water quality in the county is very important. I was active last year in the speaker task force issues over water quality, and I'm one neighbors to the south that are really having groundwater issues.
Thank you, Supervisor Kelly. Or did he freeze? Looks like he froze on the, I can see here. Anyone else while we're waiting? Anyone else? Are we in business here to be able to take a vote? Looks like everybody's frozen, so we can't take a roll call vote at this point unless we can do it on a chat basis. I'm just looking down at theirs. Theirs are all frozen. Okay.
Frozen here. We don't look frozen.
All right. All right. Any more questions from the floor? Any more questions? Take a roll call vote on the First Amendment, Amendment number 1 by Supervisor Christensen.
Supervisor Jones,
Yes.
Supervisor David,
Yes.
Supervisor Brockler,
No.
Supervisor Morris,
Yes.
Supervisor Renard,
Yes.
Supervisor Johns, Supervisor Martin,
Yes.
Supervisor Nass,
Yes.
Supervisor Coots,
Yes.
Supervisor Drana, Supervisor Kennard,
Yes.
Supervisor Jekyll,
No.
Supervisor Felker,
No.
Supervisor Nealon, Supervisor Roberts,
Yes.
Supervisor Kelly,
Yeah.
Supervisor Herbst, Supervisor Winnicky,
Yes.
Supervisor Zastro, Supervisor Smith,
Yes.
Supervisor Lund,
Yes.
Supervisor Payne,
Yes.
Supervisor White,
Aye.
Supervisor Backlund, Supervisor Paulson, Supervisor Lindell, Supervisor Fitzgerald, Supervisor Schultz, Supervisor Christensen.
Aye.
Thank you.
The second amendment that we will take that was submitted is the amendment from Supervisor Martin, Supervisor Lund, and Supervisor Smith.
And who would like to speak for this? Bring it to the floor.
So Supervisor Lund, I need to preface this by saying that my internet connection periodically freezes me out of this. I have it set up so it takes me a matter of seconds to get back in. So if I freeze, wait, I'll be back. I'm not sure the procedures of this, but Supervisor Martin co-sponsored this for the Finance Committee. We are prepared tonight to make an amendment to our proposed budget amendment. And I guess that would involve withdrawing the amendment that we had before the Finance Committee. So I don't know if I proceed with the core amendment or if we wait until after all of the amendments are proposed.
We're going to ask you to wait.
Okay.
So you're withdrawing at this time the written one, the submitted one.
Yeah.
And then,
And then when we get done with all the written ones, we'll come back to you, Supervisor Lund. Okay?
we'll take ones from the floor after that.
Thank you.
Okay. So we'll,
All right, our third amendment that was submitted and written is from Supervisor Smith concerning the libraries.
Supervisor Smith, you have the floor.
Yes, I wanted to fully fund the library system. You know, the other 35,000. That I guess I didn't realize I'd be speaking tonight. I thought it was rejected by the executive committee. Didn't realize I'd be speaking.
Tonight,
The floor is yours if you'd like to
the
speak.
floor is yours. Explain what you want to do, and it's the board votes on the amendment, not just the finance committee alone. The board votes on a budget. So if you can convince 16 members.
I would like to figure out how we could fully fund the library system that, you know, it continually gets cut. And I just put it out there to see if we couldn't find a way to fully fund the library system, but I didn't have any recommendations as to where the money would necessarily come from.
Do I have a second for this amendment for discussion purposes, at least? Second from Supervisor Paulson. Anybody else care to add to the discussion? I would like to ask, the question is, how did the finance committee come to the conclusion of this? What was your reasoning?
First of all, we did not cut the library budget. I mean, it's reduced 35,000, but it wasn't the finance committee or administration that made that cut. The budget is arrived through a very complicated formula, which is a combination of state statutes in agreement with the Bridges Coalition. The budget was reduced on this formula mainly because of reduce in circulation. We'd almost have to change the formula to do what Supervisor Smith is proposing, and doing that through an amendment process probably wouldn't be the best way to approach that. It'd be better to work with the cooperation of the Bridges Coalition and the library, the Jefferson County Library Boards. And so therefore, you know, when the librarians are here for the public hearing, there was no objection. They understood. And the 35,000 is spread out among the 10 libraries throughout Jefferson County. So it averaged, you know, $3,500 a library or so. So we voted, we turned down this amendment 4-0 with what I just expressed. Thank you.
May I speak to this, please?
Yes, Supervisor Morris.
I just want Supervisor Smith to know how much I appreciate the concern for this. Having served on both the County Library Board and the System Board, which is Jefferson and Waukesha, they do follow their formula very carefully, and whatever number they submitted is what they are. So, they couldn't request anything other than what their formula requires them to request. And that's why I would say we don't need this extra $35,000 largely because they just cannot by formula ask for it. That's all.
Thank you, Supervisor Morris. Any other questions, comments? Mr. Waymire.
So I'm not going to try to surmise the whole formula, but just so the board is aware, there's basically two numbers in terms of reimbursement based on the circulation rate, and that goes into it. And the number is 100%, and one number is 70%. So by law, all libraries adjacent to Jefferson County has to be reimbursed a minimum of 70%. So that's when you see some of those dollars going outside. And I say 70% is each library determines their total cost of to operate, and then they break it down per circulation cost. And then we're required by law to pay those adjoining counties 70%. Within Jefferson County, we pay our libraries 100% of each of those circulation costs. So we are maximizing the full amount that we can pay those libraries under the statute for per circulation cost for those libraries in Jefferson County. So those are just the two numbers I want to point out of how this works. So we're still putting well over $1.15 million into our libraries.
Thank you, Mr. Waymire. Any other questions, comments? We'll take a roll call vote on this amendment.
Supervisor Jones? Supervisor David?
No.
Supervisor Brockler?
No.
Supervisor Morris?
No.
Supervisor Renard?
No.
Supervisor Johns? Supervisor Martin?
No.
Supervisor Nass?
No.
Supervisor Coots?
No.
Supervisor Drana? Supervisor Kennard? Supervisor Jekyll?
No.
Supervisor Felker? Supervisor Nealon? Supervisor Roberts?
No.
Supervisor Kelly?
No.
Supervisor Herbst? Supervisor Winnicky? Supervisor Zastro? Supervisor Smith?
Yeah.
Supervisor Lund?
No.
Supervisor Payne?
No.
Supervisor White,
No.
Supervisor Backlund, Supervisor Paulson, Supervisor Lindell, Supervisor Fitzgerald, Supervisor Schultz, Supervisor Christensen.
No.
So that one I kept track of. That was 28-1. What was the first one on Supervisor Christensen's? What was the count?
First one we had 1, 2.
26-3. Okay.
Yep.
For the record. Thank you. Which takes us back to now amendments from the floor.
Correct. So Supervisor Lund, you're on.
Looking at the proposed budget amendment that I plan to present to you, co-sponsors are myself, Supervisor Kelly, Supervisor Martin, and Supervisor Smith. We propose to use, we propose to fully fund the water resource position, and we need an additional $8,000 in order to fully fund that position. We propose to take from the contingency fund. There have been 2 uses of the contingency fund this year: $35,000 for the comprehensive plan consultation fee and $10,000 for the drainage board, as I understand it. The county board received several dozen well-reasoned letters from communications from Jefferson County residents, giving the myriad reasons that we should keep the funding for the water resource management system at full time. Water is the most basic resource that supports life on Earth, and this Jefferson County water resource is a critical job to keep funding. Chair, I move for passage of this proposed budget amendment.
So essentially, the budget amendment is to add $18,223 from the contingency fund towards the water resource management position. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And we have a second from Supervisor Paulson. Discussion. Comment. Supervisor Martin, Supervisor Smith, co-sponsors here. Anything you'd like to add?
Oh, go ahead.
Mike Kelly, I would support this. My concern with stopping at full time is that we may not get the same full qualified applicants. This was a full-time position before, and I think there's both in the department that it would be returned to full-time in the near future. And it's only due to this very unusual year that it wasn't filled at this time. But if this position, often our employees are here for a long period of time, it's important for the most qualified person to find us.
I believe Supervisor Martin, you were going to speak.
I really don't have anything additional to say. I think they've said it. Thank you.
And Supervisor Smith, anything to add as a coach?
I just can't imagine too much that is more important than the quality of our water and keeping it clean and keeping the person working.
Thank you. Anything else? Supervisor Johns.
I also agree that it's, to me, it's important to have a full-time position. I think to have a qualified person to do that work would be hard to find if it was only part-time. And there's a number of people looking for jobs out there, but I think that this is an important area, and I think it would have to be somebody pretty well qualified, and they would probably have some education or degrees behind it. So I think going full-time would be the best answer for that position.
Supervisor Schultz.
When I saw this, I really thought this was almost a classic case of being penny wise but dollar foolish. And water in Jefferson County and the future is something that's critical. And this is the wrong time to be not turning our back on it. We're not doing that, but reducing how critical we think this is. I would be very curious, though. I haven't heard much argument for this, so I wondered if somebody would explain what the argument is against keeping this full time.
Anybody want to tackle that question? Supervisor Jones.
I guess I get the honor. The original budget proposed by the administration and to the finance committee, the position was completely eliminated. Not the position, it was a non-funded position. So we, through all the letters and comments we got, we felt the need to make it half-time, and it's being financed by sales tax. And we were very concerned with the amount of sales tax because of COVID-19. And so far, the sales tax has been better than we feared, but we still don't know, especially with current events of the last month, what the sales tax will present next time. And once we put this position back in the budget, it's not just a one-time thing. It's a permanent thing, that has to be financed every year. The other bigger concern we had besides money was that we are presently working on the comprehensive plan, which is very close to being completed, and we as a county board will vote on to make it part of the policy. And the comprehensive plan not only it'll talk quite a bit about water, and no one argues that nobody wants dirty water, obviously. But from the finance committee, we have 26 different departments and over 800 different programs that we try to finance fairly and try to get them to cooperate and work together. And the comprehensive plan, what we're hoping there is that'll prioritize the different departments, not the different departments, but different programs where we could spend this money. And hopefully we'll have some more sales tax revenue, 6 months or in the next second or third quarter. There is a process in the works, and these amendments would go outside and disrupt that process at this time. We have a very thorough budgeting process. Administration meets with each department, hears their needs. We listen to the administration, and each department comes in and presents their needs and what they're doing. We presently have 23 unfunded positions, including in the departments of Child Support, DA, Fair Park, Human Resource, Human Services, MIS, Parks, Register of Deeds, Sheriff, Veterinary Services, and Zoning. And one of our concerns was that this puts this position to the front of the line when other positions have been waiting for a much longer time. So that's pretty much our arguments at this time. If anyone else from the Finance Committee would like to speak, it would be much appreciated, I guess. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, it's Renard here.
Yes. Supervisor Renard.
I think that Supervisor Jones has really very accurately summarized the conversation that we had at the Finance Committee level. With the approval of Supervisor Christensen's amendment to the budget, I believe this position would then be funded 3/4 time. And the Finance Committee instructed our administration to figure out a way to fully fund this position as soon as possible in 2021. So as Supervisor Jones says, there's a process at work here. Our administration is on it. We're going to have 3/4 time person right off the bat in 2021 as a result of these budget amendments. And then our administration will come to us on the basis of fully funded the rest of the 25%. So it was never the intention of the Finance Committee to unfund this thing or eliminate this position. We struggled with a way to finance it. And I think we're on the path to doing that. So taking money out of the contingency fund is like a quick fix for 1 year. But then what about 2022? And what do you tell that person who's hired for this job about the future sustainability of their position? So I think if people would just sort of let the process unfold. The position will be funded at 100% next year as soon as possible, but we just don't have a way to do it right now.
Thank you, Supervisor Renard. Who's next?
Supervisor.
I didn't, Supervisor David, okay. Supervisor David, you have the floor.
Thank you. I apologize for not using the video, but when I do that, then we have really poor garbled communication that I can't make out. I want to thank the Finance Committee for putting so much work into this. It really does sound like you guys are trying to do everything possible to make this thing happen. It sounds like you guys have a pretty good handle of it on it. Thank you for that. Still, I can't think of anything more important in Jefferson County than our land and water. It's been a passion of mine since the day I got on the county board. And I've been on some of the committees that have had to cut back, like zoning and various other committees, and it is difficult to fund these positions. Still, with all the controversy in Jefferson County about water and contamination, look at the in the past with all we dealt with on the zoning committee with the leaking pond north of Fort Atkinson over the karst topography. That was a very serious condition, and we need to have water quality specialists to provide the science that we can make decisions on protection of our water. So I would support this however we can make it happen. Thanks. Over.
Anyone else? Anyone else to speak? Anyone else? Seeing none, we have this amendment from the floor. Need a roll call.
Supervisor Jones, Supervisor David,
Aye.
Supervisor Brockler, Supervisor Morris,
No.
Supervisor Renard,
No.
Supervisor Johns, Supervisor Martin,
Yes.
Supervisor Nass,
Yes.
Supervisor Coots,
No.
Supervisor Drana, Supervisor Kennard,
No.
Supervisor Jekyll,
No.
Supervisor Felker, Supervisor Nealon, Supervisor Roberts,
No.
Supervisor Kelly,
Yeah.
Supervisor Herbst, Supervisor Winnicky,
No.
Supervisor Zastro, Supervisor Smith,
Yes.
Supervisor Lund,
Yes.
Supervisor Payne,
Yes.
Supervisor White,
Yes.
Supervisor Backlund, Supervisor Paulson, Supervisor Lindell, Supervisor Fitzgerald, Supervisor Schultz, Supervisor Christensen.
Yes.
Okay. Let me count.
16 to 13. 16, 13, the amendment fails. Is there any other amendments from the floor? Any other amendments from the floor? I'll call one more third time. Any other amendments from the floor? Seeing none, Supervisor Jones.
I move to divide the question on the countywide and non-countywide levy budgets.
Second.
I have a second there. Okay. Who was the second? Okay. Supervisor Jacob was the second. Discussion on the budget as a whole.
We're just dividing between countywide.
Oh. Okay. Oh, we need a vote on that.
Yes.
I think this can be a voice vote, can it? Yeah, a voice vote to divide question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, now Supervisor Jones.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution number 2020-29.
Yes.
Resolution establishing countywide levy and fees. Whereas the proposed 2021 county budget was submitted to the board by the county administrator on October 13, 2020, and whereas the proposed 2021 county budget was the subject of a public hearing on October 27, 2020, and whereas the board has considered all amendments. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the authorized positions, the total appropriation for each governmental function is shown below, fund balance application and assignments in the recommended budget book, and the levy contained in the countywide portion of the 2021 budget be levied as a county tax to be raised on the 2020 tax rolls as follows. You can see the numbers there, countywide, non-countywide. The non-countywide for the new members means like Watertown has its own health department, so they don't pay the county tax. And the cities already are paying for their share for the library, so that's why there's countywide and non-countywide. Be it further resolved that the above amount be apportioned according to equalized values established by the Wisconsin Department of Revenue. Be it further resolved that the fee schedule for various license permits and services to establish revenue amounts in the budget are hereby approved. Fiscal note. As presented, the countywide levy. I'm reading the wrong one.
Yeah, we want the non-countywide levy first.
I got too much material here tonight.
I was wondering where you're going there, Dick, but that's okay.
So I will start over. Bear with me. Are we still in 29?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution establishing non-countywide levies for health and library services. Whereas the non-countywide budget for 2021 containing total department appropriation levies is apportioned to the municipalities benefiting from the services clerk, and be it further resolved that the requirement established by the Jefferson County fund balance policy retain 2 months current year budgeted expenditures in the health department's fund balance is hereby suspended for the 2021 budget year, and that the health department ending fund balance shall not be budgeted at an amount less than 1 month of the current year's budget expenditures. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the sums listed below be levied upon all property in Jefferson County that is taxable for the purposes listed. Health Department, $873,847. Library Service, $1,155,430. Be it further resolved that the above amounts be apportioned to equalized values as established by the State Department of Revenue. Fiscal note, the health mill rate is 0.1292 and the library mill rate is 0.2974 per $1,000 of equalized value. In 2020, the health mill rate was 1.345 and the library mill rate was 3.234 for a decrease of 0.0052 and 0.260 in the health and library mill rates respectively. Mr. Chair, I move for passage of this resolution.
Do I have a second? Second. Second from Supervisor Jacob. Questions, discussion on the non-levy? Seeing none, we'll vote. We'll take a roll call vote on a resolution establishing non-countywide levies for health and library services.
Supervisor Jones.
Yeah.
Supervisor David.
Aye.
Supervisor Brockler.
Aye.
Supervisor Morris.
Aye.
Supervisor Renard.
Aye.
Supervisor Johns. Supervisor Martin.
Aye.
Supervisor Nass.
Aye.
Supervisor Coots.
Aye.
Supervisor Drano. Supervisor Kennard.
Aye.
Supervisor Jekyll.
Aye.
Supervisor Felker. Supervisor Nealon. Supervisor Roberts.
Aye.
Supervisor Kelly.
Aye.
Supervisor Herbst. Supervisor Winnicky.
Aye.
Supervisor Zastro. Supervisor Smith.
Aye.
Supervisor Lund.
Aye.
Supervisor Payne.
Aye.
Supervisor White.
Aye.
Supervisor Backlund. Supervisor Paulson. Supervisor Lindell. Supervisor Fitzgerald. Supervisor Schultz. Supervisor Christensen.
Aye.
29-0. It passes. Which, again, you need a drink of water, supervisors. Okay, very, very good. So it's resolution establishing countywide levy fees, resolution 2020-30.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Stop me if you heard this before. No. I'm going to skip down to the second last two sentences there. Is that legal, Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Be it further resolved that the above amount be apportioned according to equalized value established by the Wisconsin Department of Revenue. Be it further resolved that the fee schedule for various licenses, permits, and services used to establish revenue amounts in the budget are hereby approved. Fiscal note, as presented, the countywide levy is proposed at $29,051,683, which is a mill rate of $3.5344 for general operations and $0.1953 for debt service fund, for a total of $3.7296 per $1,000 of equalized value. In 2020, the countywide levy was $28,045,222 with a general operations mill rate of $3.6545 and debt service mill rate of $0.1543 for a decrease of $0.1201 per $1,000 for 2021 general operations and an increase of $0.0409 per $1,000 for the 2021 debt service. Mr. Chairman, I move for passage of this resolution.
Do I have a second? Second by Supervisor Jones, Supervisor Schultz. Discussion. Questions? No more amendments. Seeing no discussion or questions, we'll take a roll call vote.
Supervisor Jones, Supervisor David,
Yes.
Supervisor Brockler, Supervisor Morris,
Aye.
Supervisor Renard,
Aye.
Supervisor Johns, Supervisor Martin,
Aye. I'm sorry.
Supervisor Nass,
Aye.
Supervisor Coots, Supervisor Drana, Supervisor Kennard,
Aye.
Supervisor Jekyll,
Aye.
Supervisor Felker, Supervisor Nealon, Supervisor Roberts,
Aye.
Supervisor Kelly, Supervisor Kelly,
Aye.
Supervisor Herbst, Supervisor Winnicky, Supervisor Zastro, Supervisor Smith,
Aye.
Supervisor Lund,
Aye.
Supervisor Payne,
Aye.
Supervisor White,
Aye.
Supervisor Backlund, Supervisor Paulson, Supervisor Lindell, Supervisor Fitzgerald, Supervisor Schultz, Supervisor Christensen.
Aye.
Again, passes 29-0. One absent. Which takes us to, I got a lot of paper laying up here too, Supervisor Jones. To resolution authorizing the sale of tax delinquent properties in the city of Waterloo. And I believe you have a gray sheet with this on and a pink sheet that are this resolution. One is from the city of Waterloo. The other is our amendment for this evening. Nope, I'm sorry, that's not. Oh, excuse me. It is here. It is directly under your revised budget. It's the one directly under your revised budget. It's a white sheet. My mistake.
It's been two of them.
And the other is a resolution from the city of Waterloo in support.
Before I read this resolution, I would just like to thank all the department heads, all the employees for their cooperation on the budget. It was one of the more difficult years, probably mainly because of COVID and not a lot of unknowns. I especially like to thank Mark Devise, our financial chief officer, and our county administrator, Ben Waymire, and a special thanks also to my fellow committee members. Before I read this resolution, the mayor of Waterloo is on Zoom there, and I think she would like to say a few words.
Mayor Quimby, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I did send Ben and Blair a revised one, and it was a very minor revision. And I'm pretty sure it was item 4 on the bottom where all we did was add if there were any additional fees that the city would incur, that also be a part of what we deduct to give you money back. This is a pain.
I believe that's the updated one that we have.
Yeah, with the item number 4, that's great. Yeah, so the city's very much interested in this building. We're not looking to profit off of this. We're just looking to get some economic development in our city. We have too many vacant buildings, and we fear that if this stays on your bid process, that it's just going to be another building that gets sold in Waterloo and nothing happens to it. We intend to put out a bid format. We haven't figured a bottom yet as far as we want to start at 10,000 or 15,000. The building is in pretty rough shape, but it doesn't need a whole lot of work. I had my maintenance guy look at it. And it does have a lot of equipment in there if indeed somebody wants to make it a restaurant place. So we're just looking to have control of it, give you the money that you have incurred so far, and whatever we get out of it, we want to put 75% back to Jefferson County. We'll retain the rest for just additional fees that we might have for our CDA.
Do I have any members have questions for Mayor Quimby?
I do.
Who said? Oh, Supervisor Smith.
Smith, yes.
Okay.
I'm wondering why the current owners are not entitled to the full value, what would sell at auction for the building.
I think we've had that addressed by our corporate counsel, Mr. Ward.
The property we're talking about is a commercial parcel of property. It's not a residential property, which is significant because the way state statutes are written, a owner of real estate which has been the subject of a tax foreclosure is not entitled to surplus funds unless that person used the property as a residential address within the past 5 years. This type of property does not meet that definition. The other requirement is that the former owner would have to make a request of the county to have any surplus funds. So in this case, the former owner is not entitled under Wisconsin law to any surplus funds.
Thank you, Attorney Blair. Attorney Ward. Any other questions? Any other questions? Supervisor Jones, read the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution number 2020-31.
Yes.
Authorizing the sale of tax delinquent property to the city of Waterloo. Jefferson County commenced the foreclosure action for unpaid taxes and currently holds title to a parcel of commercial property located at 122 South Monroe Street, Waterloo, Wisconsin, parcel number 290-0813-0822-044, with the principal amount of delinquent taxes and interest totaling $3,779.46. The city of Waterloo has expressed interest in the purchasing this parcel and submitted an offer to purchase the amount of $4,120. The Finance Committee considered this resolution at its meeting on November 5th, 2020, and recommended forwarding to the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors to approve sale of this property to the city of Waterloo upon payment of $4,120, with the specific terms and conditions of the sale to be determined by the county administrator and corporation council. Fiscal note, this resolution will result in $4,120 being applied towards the delinquent taxes. Mr. Chair, I move for passage of this resolution.
Second by Supervisor Brogler. Discussion, questions? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Supervisor Jones? Supervisor David?
Aye.
Supervisor Brockler?
Aye.
Supervisor Morris?
Aye.
Supervisor Renard, Supervisor Johns, Supervisor Martin,
Aye.
Supervisor Ness,
Aye.
Supervisor Coots,
Aye.
Supervisor Drana, Supervisor Kennard,
Aye.
Supervisor Jekyll,
Aye.
Supervisor Felker,
Aye.
Supervisor Nealon, Supervisor Roberts,
Aye.
Supervisor Kelly, Supervisor Herbst, Supervisor Winnicky, Supervisor Zastro, Supervisor Smith,
Aye.
Supervisor Lund, Supervisor Payne,
Aye.
Supervisor White,
Aye.
Supervisor Backlund, Supervisor Paulson, Supervisor Lindell, Supervisor Fitzgerald, Supervisor Schultz, Supervisor Christensen.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Okay. Takes us to
Thank you very much.
you're not done yet, Supervisor Jones. Human Resources Board, Supervisor Jones.
I should put on a different mask or position. Resolution number 2020-32, authorizing state human service contracts, consortium agreements, and professional service and care provider contract. The Jefferson County Human Service Department contracts with state agencies, consortiums, in excess of 100 professional service and care providers to fulfill its statutory duties. Each year, contracts are renewed and/or updated with additional providers. State law requires county board approval of the state contracts set forth in this resolution. The contracts have not been reproduced and attached to this resolution because they total in excess of 100 pages. The Wisconsin County Human Service Association negotiates the basic agreement on behalf of the counties, which are standard state form and are not subject to negotiation by individual counties. The professional service and care provider contract list for 2021 is attached. These provider contracts are reviewed by the Jefferson County Corporation Council to ensure compliance with the county's purchasing ordinance and contain the language and terms set forth by the State of Wisconsin Department of Health Service Purchase of Care Services Guide and 46.036 Wisconsin statutes. The Human Services Board considered this resolution as October 13th, 2020 meeting and recommended forwarding to the county board to approve entering into professional service and care provider contracts with the providers on the attached list and entering into state contracts and consortium agreements as set forth below for 2021. Fiscal note, the costs associated with these state contracts have been included as an appropriation in the 2021 budget. Mr. Chair, I move for passage of this resolution.
Do I have a second? Second from Supervisor Joel. Discussion, questions? Discussions, questions? I want to lead a roll call vote.
Supervisor Jones, Supervisor David,
Aye.
Supervisor Brockler, Supervisor Morris,
Aye.
Supervisor Renard,
Aye.
Supervisor Johns, Supervisor Martin,
Aye.
Supervisor Ness,
Aye.
Supervisor Coots,
Aye.
Supervisor Drana, Supervisor Kennard,
Aye.
Supervisor Jekyll,
Aye.
Supervisor Felker,
Aye.
Supervisor Nealon, Supervisor Roberts,
Aye.
Supervisor Kelly,
Aye.
Supervisor Herbst, Supervisor Winnicky,
Aye.
Supervisor Zastro, Supervisor Smith,
Aye.
Supervisor Lund,
Aye.
Supervisor Payne,
Aye.
Supervisor White,
Aye.
Supervisor Backlund, Supervisor Paulson, Supervisor Lindell, Supervisor Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Supervisor Schultz, Supervisor Christensen.
Aye.
Thank you again, unanimous. Thanks. Thank you. And passes. On to item number 11, Land and Water Conservation Committee. Supervisor Falker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution number 2020-33.
Yes.
Okay, authorizing extension of county farm agricultural lease. Jefferson County owns a parcel of farmland commonly known as a countryside farm consisting of approximately 346 acres. Public bids were solicited to lease this land for 3 years for general farming purposes, with the current leasing expiring on February 28, 2021. The current tenants are seeking to continue their lease for an additional 3 years, ending on February 28, 2024, at the present annual amount of $290.25 per acre. The Land and Water Conservation Department supports extending the lease for 3 years with the current tenants at the present annual amount per acre due to their willingness to work with the county in repairing and replacing damaged drain tile, and the annual amount paid per acre by tenants estimated to be above the current fair market value for leased farmland. The Land and Water Conservation Committee considered this resolution at its meeting on October 21st, 2020, and recommended forwarding to the county board to approve a 3-year lease extension with the current tenants under the same terms and conditions as the current lease. Whereas the executive summary is incorporated into this resolution, and whereas the county farm is currently leased by Jeff and Monica Gerner, W8215 Perry Road, Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin, for a 3-year lease term March 1st, 2018 through February 28, 2021, at a price of $290.25 per acre for a total of $100,426.50 per year. And whereas Jeff and Monica Gerner requested a 3-year extension of the lease, and whereas in recent years there are areas of the farmland are too wet to plant due to the condition of the tile drains, and the Land and Water Conservation Department has been working to identify and repair the sections of tile drain that are not functioning properly, which will take more time to complete. And whereas the local ethanol plant is not taking bids for grain and commodity prices are currently low, making it more difficult to sell corn. Now therefore be resolved that the county administrator is authorized to enter into a 3-year lease extension with Jeff and Monica Gerner for 346 acres of county farmland totaling $301,279.50 under the same terms and conditions as the current lease. Fiscal note, total rent payable to Jefferson County for the 3-year term is $301,279.50. Mr. Chair, I move for resolution number 33.
Have a second? Second from Supervisor Christensen. Questions, discussion? Questions, discussion? Roll call vote.
Supervisor Jones, Supervisor David,
Aye.
Supervisor Brockler, Supervisor Morris,
Aye.
Supervisor Renard,
Aye.
Supervisor Johns, Supervisor Martin, Supervisor Nass,
Aye.
Supervisor Coots,
Aye.
Supervisor Drana, Supervisor Kennard,
Aye.
Supervisor Jekyll, Supervisor Felker, Supervisor Nealon, Supervisor Roberts,
Aye.
Supervisor Kelly,
No.
Supervisor Herbst, Supervisor Winnicky, Supervisor Zastro,
Yeah.
Supervisor Smith,
Aye.
Supervisor Lund,
Aye.
Supervisor Payne,
Aye.
Supervisor White,
Aye.
Supervisor Backlund, Supervisor Paulson, Supervisor Lindell, Supervisor Fitzgerald, Supervisor Schultz, Supervisor Christensen.
Aye.
Thank you. That passes 28-1. Item 12, Parks Committee, Supervisor Johns.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ordinance number,
I believe it's 12.
12.
what? Thank you. Oops. Amending the Jefferson County Parks Ordinance to authorize the use of park boat launches at Rock River County Park and Cappy's Landing outside of normal operating hours for egress purposes. Executive summary, Wisconsin Administrative Code, Section NR 1.91 states that any boats launched at outdoor public recreational facilities during operating hours may not be denied egress from the water at any time using public boating access. The ordinance amendment amends section 8.13 of the Jefferson County Parks Ordinance to allow use of boat launches at Rock River County Park and Cappy's Landing after normal operating hours for egress proposed as required by the Wisconsin Administrative Code. The Parks Committee considered the ordinance amendment at its meeting on November 2nd and recommended the forwarding the County Board for approval. The County Board of Supervisors of Jefferson County does hereby ordain as follows. Section 8.13 Park and Trail Hours. All parks, park roads, and parking areas shall be closed to the public and vehicular traffic except police and emergency vehicles from 1/2 hour after sunset to 1/2 hour before sunrise, and no person shall remain in the parks during said hours unless authorized by issuance of a permit, therefore by the Parks Director. Recreational trails may be used at any time except as limited by order of the Parks Director. No person may hike or walk dogs on designated cross-country street trails when the trails are snow-covered in any park. Any person launching a boat at Rock River County Park or Cappy's Landing during normal operating hours may utilize the park boat launches at any time outside of the normal operating hours for egress purposes. The Parks Department Director may grant permits for groups for park usage outside of normal park hours for events consistent with the mission of Parks Department and shall report issuance of any such permit promptly to the committee. So I move to approve this ordinance.
Have a second. Who's second? Supervisor Earps. Second by Supervisor Earps. Any questions? Discussion?
I have a question.
And that is Supervisor Morris. Anybody on Zoom, just so you know that, I'm guessing by voice. I can't see. Okay.
You guessed correctly.
All right.
Will there be a need for the fence that is at Cappy's Landing and the area that locks up that fence still?
Supervisor Johns?
Yeah, I'm familiar with what I was over at that landing here about a month ago. And I would think that after this ordinance is passed, we would probably not keep that locked at night unless we probably could keep it locked if there's nobody there in the parking lot. People do night fishing from that point, and it is patrolled by the county police. So if there's no cars there after dark, I would assume that they could go ahead and lock it. If there is a car there with a trailer, then we would say we'd have to keep it unlocked.
Is the Parks Director present tonight?
No.
Kevin is on Zoom, I believe.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Thanks, Kevin.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, so the only time that we lock that gate for that park is when the park is closed. And we close the park when the water comes up into that lower parking lot. So the gate would stay in place only for the purpose of locking that park to prevent damage during high water events. So it is not closed at night. It does not limit access on a daily basis. We don't have the staffing or the infrastructure for it to automatically close. This ordinance really cleans up our ordinance to follow suit with some of the regulations that come down with some of the grants and other land lease agreements that we have with the DNR to allow that egress. And we had some issues come up recently with law enforcement, which we're very thankful that they do patrol all of our parks, enforcing after hours use of people coming onto water that was after, the sunset and after dark hours. So this would have helped clean that up from the state standpoint of what they mandate for these launches that we manage.
So a truck that's there with a boat, you're not going to be locking them in, and pretty much that fence is only going to be used when it's high water now.
Correct. That's the only time we close that gate.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Been informed by our corporate counsel. If there are any more questions, discussion, been informed our corporate counsel. We can do a voice vote on this one. All in favor of this ordinance change, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed unanimously. Supervisor Johns.
Resolution number 2020-34, authorizing county conservation aids grant application. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources Fish and Wildlife Management Grant Program was created to assist counties in the improvement of fish and wildlife resources. The program was established by the Wisconsin legislature in 1965 and provides matching funds for a growing list of county-sponsored fish and wildlife habitat projects. The Jefferson County Parks Department has applied for financial assistance through this program to remove invasive plants from the property, including but not limited to buckhorn, honeysuckle, garlic, mustard, and thistles at Crawfish River Park in Jefferson, Wisconsin. Project goals include a combination of mechanical mowing, hand cutting, herbicide application, and seeding across the site of approximately 4.6 acres. The overarching goal of the project is to maintain an oak woodland with native understory grasses and forbs. The total cost of this project is estimated at $5,000. The grant application requested up to 50% of the total project cost of $2,500 to be used toward the project, which will be in addition to labor provided by county staff and volunteers. The additional costs above and beyond those provided by the grant will be funded through the donations held by Jefferson County for the benefit of Crawfish River County Park. The Parks Committee considered this resolution at its meeting on November 2nd, 2020, and recommended forwarding the county board to ratify submission of this grant application and accept grant funds up to $2,500 with a $2,500 matching allocation through donations, county staff labor, and volunteer labor. Now therefore be it resolved by the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors that the application submitted by the Jefferson County Parks Department to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources for grant funds in the amount of up to $2,500 to be used for the maintenance improvement of Crawfish River County Park is hereby ratified, and accepting grant funds up to $2,500 for this purpose is authorized. Fiscal note. The total cost of this project is estimated at $5,000, which will be funded through the CCA grant in the amount of up to $2,500, with the balance funded through donations held by Jefferson County for the benefit of Crawfish River County Park, account number 12801.1485200, and staff and volunteer labor. The County Board of Supervisors authorized the Finance Director to make the necessary budget adjustments to enact this resolution. This is a budget amendment. County Board approval requires 2/3 vote of the entire membership of the County Board. I move to approve this resolution.
Second.
Second by Supervisor Christensen. Questions, discussion? Supervisor Paulson. Is Mr. Weissman is still on with us? Kevin?
Yes,
Kevin, did you hear that question?
I did not. I couldn't hear.
Could you repeat it, Supervisor Paulson? Use your mic. It might help.
County staff time, is that coming out of the budget? Or is that volunteer staff? Volunteer labor.
I guess I'm not sure if I understand your question.
Well, here's the base of my question. Okay, we've got
Basically, use the mic so he can hear.
I've got it down.
Okay.
All right. The basis of my question is this. This is all tidy and it looks like it's costing taxpayers $0 at this point. I want to know if the staff time is costing the taxpayers money or if it's donated staff time.
So any staff time that would be used on the project could potentially be used as match towards the project. Yes, and that is county levy dollars.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? Seeing none, we need a roll call vote.
Supervisor Jones. Supervisor David.
Aye.
Supervisor Brockler. Supervisor Morris.
Aye.
Supervisor Renard.
Aye.
Supervisor Johns,
Aye.
Supervisor Martin, Supervisor Nass,
Aye.
Supervisor Coots,
Aye.
Supervisor Drana, Supervisor Kennard,
Aye.
Supervisor Jekyll,
No.
Supervisor Felker,
Aye.
Supervisor Nealon, Supervisor Roberts,
Aye.
Supervisor Kelly,
Aye.
Supervisor Herbst, Supervisor Winnicky, Supervisor Zastro, Supervisor Smith,
Aye.
Supervisor Lund, Supervisor Payne, Supervisor White,
Aye.
Supervisor Backlund, Supervisor Paulson, Supervisor Lindell, Supervisor Fitzgerald, Supervisor Schultz, and Supervisor Christensen.
Aye.
And it passes by 2/3. And that takes us to resolution number 35, 2020-35, I believe, Supervisor Johns.
Yep.
And that
Here I
is
have a
revised
question.
on the pink sheet now, I believe. Revised
This
on the
one,
pink
right?
sheet.
Yes.
Okay. So resolution number 35, 2020-35, granting a property access easement across the Glacial River Trail. Executive summary. Jefferson County is the owner of land known as the Glacier River Trail, parallel to Business 26 in the town of Koshkonong, Fort Atkinson, which is currently used as a public bicycle and pedestrian trail. Russell Amateur is the owner of a parcel of residential real property and has been using a section of the Glacier River Trail owned by Jefferson County to access his property for many years. The Jefferson County Parks Department was contacted by Russell Amateur requesting Jefferson County to grant him a permanent access easement over the Glacier River Trail to his residential parcel of property. This resolution will grant Russell Amateur and any future owners of this property the legal right to continue access over the Glacial River Trail. The Parks Committee considered this resolution at its meeting on November 2nd, 2020, and recommended forwarding to the county board to grant requested access easement over the Glacier River Trail. Fiscal note, this resolution will have no fiscal impact. Also, in your white packets, there is a map that shows the trail and his driveway. I move to approve this resolution.
Do I have a second? Second by Supervisor Backlund. Any discussions, questions? Seeing none, this can be a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Which takes us to special order of business. Introduction of Jefferson County Comprehensive Plan and Farmland Preservation Plan. Mr. Waymire, would it be, how long is your presentation?
Hopefully around 5 minutes.
Okay, otherwise I was going to give us a break here.
Unless if everyone wants me to talk longer, but I think we're good. So really what I wanted to do tonight and use this time is really to talk through our next phase of the comprehensive plan and egg preservation plan. So what I'm going to show you tonight is in preparation for tomorrow, which is really our next phase of the public input process. So when we had set this up as the public participation plan, we had envisioned once the draft document was together, we'd have these regional meetings again. And I think many of the board members are aware, pre-COVID, we had divided the county up to 4 regions. We went out, we engaged, we set up meetings trying to get feedback and set it up in various aspects, both in person, also through surveys, etc. Obviously, we're kind of at a point that probably will not work very well. And so we want to find ways to continue to get feedback so we keep this process moving. As you heard tonight with the budget, there's a lot of things that we need to make policy decisions on to keep this going forward. And so tomorrow, it begins that our version of the next regional meeting. And the page I'm on right now is on our county website. So quickly to show how you get there, see if this works. You go up to government. And if you want to see what's been going on, you go to government and then you go to this comprehensive plan. It's easier when you're not a real mouse. And that's going to take you to this page.
And this is what is up right now. And so the first link is a video presentation. And I'm not going to go through it because it's about 12 minutes long. But the intent behind that is kind of give an overview how we've gotten to this point. So those who might not be able to participate in the meeting tomorrow, but want to participate in the meeting the next few weeks, can do so by watching this video and look at what has taken place. The next thing is the presentation. I'm going to come back to that in just a minute because there's some important information on there. The third link is for a comment form. So as members of the public and stakeholders begin to look at what's in both the comprehensive plan and the farmland preservation plan, this is the opportunity to provide feedback back to you all in terms of we like this, we don't like this, well, how did this get in here kind of things. So that's what that link is for. The next two links are the actual plans, and this is what I have sent out to the county board several weeks ago. These are large documents, a lot of good reading in there, a lot of good data, folks who are looking at the future of the county. So the first one is a comprehensive plan. The second one is the agricultural preservation and land use draft plan. So those are the essence what we should be looking at. Project updates. So this is a lot of the old information we've been talking through. This is also a link where we have all the regional meeting data for tomorrow. We've been trying to get this out on our website, Facebook pages, etc. So I know people have been pushing it out there for us. A couple of board members have. So here's the information related to it. There is the virtual meeting link. We are offering in person as well. One thing as we've been talking through is we have folks who don't have broadband. And so we do want to make sure they have an opportunity to comment as well too if they can't attend virtually. So the one thing I did want to talk through is just quickly is the timelines, so folks can know what we're trying to do related to that as well. And so this is what the draft presentation looks like, and it kind of talks through what the plan is. User errors. So it kind of just gives an overview of how we started this about over a year ago and how we got to where it was. Gives the index of the comprehensive plan and all the various chapters that are in it. Kind of talks from the data with the population estimates and what we're looking at. Our engagement process, the various things we've done for the last several years. This relates to how we worked with Youth Government Day, how we worked with department heads, all the focus groups, etc. So, and just kind of talking through our process update, how we started and how we got to where we're at. So the main one I wanted to talk through was the next steps. So obviously we've been trying to get public comment throughout this time, but we're not at the point we have a document for people to really chew on of the results of that data input. And so starting tomorrow, we are seeking that feedback. Now this says that the opening rounds of comments till November 25th, but in reality, we're going to keep accepting comments for the county board to consider all the way until January, and they're going to look at this document, continue to get that feedback. On the 20th, we're actually going to be having a next Friday, a special joint meeting of the Executive Committee and Planning and Zoning Committee. They're kind of the recommending committees of these documents, and they're in essence receiving it from our steering committee, which was appointed to help guide the process. And so they're in essence receiving the documents from the steering committee to take it to the next step of reviewing it and start providing input. At our next county board meeting, we will have a public hearing on December 8th. So if you have folks who would like to provide input to you in a public hearing format, that it will be next county board meeting on December 8th. Again, that's one method to give input. We'll continue to look at other methodologies. On December 30th, based on that feedback in the public hearing, we'll again reconvene the joint meeting of the Planning and Zoning Committee and the Executive Committee to review the various feedback that the public has provided. So if there needs to be amendments made or draft comments made to the actual two plans, that would be one of the initial opportunities to do so. And then the intent at this point is to bring it to the full county board in January, on January 12th for a county board meeting. Obviously, if more work needs to be done, it can always be pushed back to the committee for more consideration, but right now that is our plan. We're hoping about 2 months of having that document out there and percolating in the public would help us get good feedback. Also trying to calculate in there, we have a few holiday seasons coming upon us that we also want to recognize in terms of deer hunting, Thanksgiving, the Christmas holiday season, and New Year. So we all know those are holidays we want to work around. But we also make sure it's a good time for folks to give feedback. So, Mr. Chair, we just want to really get the support of the board to help get the feedback as we go forward, as we go into this final phase of these important documents, and just be cognizant of these timelines so we can get good participation. So with that being said, Mr. Chair, I turn it back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Waymeyer. I encourage everybody to maybe not read every line, but if you can read every line, it'd be great. But we have spent an awful lot of time on this, and I know the Planning and Zoning Committee is well aware of the kind of time we've spent over the years on this, and those that have served on these comprehensive planning types of exercises understand the work that's gone into this. So please be get your comments in and encourage your constituents to get their comments in, and everything is considered and helps. Appointments by County Administrator, item number 15.
Thank you,
Waymeyer.
Mr. Chair. Tonight, under 59.18, Parent 2, Parent B, Wisconsin State Statute, I request a confirmation of the following appointments. Mr. Art Briemeyer to the Bridges Frederick Library System for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2002. Art Briemeyer to the Jefferson County Library Board for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2023. Joseph Naylor to the Veteran Service Commission for a 3-year term ending December 11th, 2023. And Mr. Jim Seidel to the Veteran Service Commission for a 3-year term ending December 11th, 2023. I respectfully request confirmation of these appointments.
Second was from Supervisor Draco. We'll take these in the aggregate unless somebody'd like to split one out. Seeing none, all in favor of these 4 appointments, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Now we move to public comment. Any public comment of a general nature? Seeing none. Any announcements? Any announcements? Again, I will remind you, our next county board meeting is December 8th, 2020 at 7 p.m. here in room 205. Mr. Waymeyer.
So just as a quick announcement, obviously we had a lot of roll call tonight, and so made it a little bit fun for everybody. But our hope was we were going to have a new voting system in place for you tonight, but with some technology items and the security, we were to make sure that was done right. And partly was the training that goes with it. So please keep an eye on your emails. By the December meeting, our plan is to have the equipment out to you as county board members with training, so you can vote. This will include the people who are remote. We are going to a system that will allow those who are at home to also vote in securely, so we can do it all in one system. So we'll continue to communicate and work with how to get these things distributed and some training, but just keep your eye out for that as we go by December. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Waymeyer. Any other announcements? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
So moved by Supervisor Draco. I have a second for Supervisor Paulson. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, we're adjourned. Thank you.